Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my platform. This is an ongoing discussion of religion and spirituality. I'd like to talk to you about when things are out of balance. We need everything in balance in life. That's just the way it is. And when things are out of balance, it causes problems. And the extent to which it causes problems is the extent to which it is out of balance. Now, for religion, me personally, I was not raised in one single church. I went to many different churches kind of as a means of easing up the schedule. You know, it gave my parents a chance to sleep in on Sunday mornings, quite frankly, whenever we went to church with grandparents. That was just kind of the convenience of, oh, cool, the grandparents are taking the grandkids, we're solid. And there's no shade on that. It's just that I would have preferred to not be sent to a place where I was going to be terrified about something that I had zero control over. I was already a kid, and hearing about this omniscient thing that's out there that's bigger than mom and dad and way scarier. And unfortunately, my father was not a nice man. He was very physically violent. And so for me to be told as a 5 or 6 year old kid that you're bad, you're wrong, you're terrible, and you're a sinner, that's the first thing. You're sitting down on that wooden pew and you're already wrong. And, I was a loud kid, so I got in trouble a lot. But if I was then going to sit there and have to listen to how scary I was, that I was this horrible, terrible, beastie child, and I had no control over what I was doing. Oh my goodness, I'm just a sinner right out of the gate, right when I get out of bed. What am I going to do? Get worse throughout the day. That's what you're going to do. And live your life like a lowly worm and be terrified constantly. What is that? It was called Sunday. It was called Sunday morning, going to church with my grandparents whenever we went. That's what that was called. But I was hearing that and not knowing that entity, that omniscient being, was not some monster that was, infinitely bigger than my mean dad. I had this man up in my grill constantly. What was I going to think about myself now that I know that, all I have to do is ask Jesus to come in. I'm good. But I got in trouble and got, my butt handed to me for being ornery last night. So did Jesus not hear me? I thought I knocked, and I thought I heard him knock. And then when I opened the door and said, Jesus, get in here, please hurry up, because I'm getting hurt and I need some help here. And it must be because I'm bad. Well, when it didn't stop and I prayed and I was saved and everything, it caused some confusion. It definitely caused some confusion. And fortunately, it didn't make me believe in the entity or the presence, the omniscience, and the omnipresence that's out there in the universe, that is the life force, that is the vital life force of this planet. It wasn't that I lost faith in that. It's that, thank goodness, I realized that, this might be a clerical error that I'm not understanding correctly, or they aren't understanding correctly. Now, me, I have Asperger's, so I think a little bit differently. Autism kind of allows me to think in some very random, weird ways, I'm told. To me, it's ops normal. It's what I do. However, I'm told that it's a very different way of thinking, and, okay. However, it came in easy, or very well, when I was a kid. It came very easily to me to just kind of go, oh, well, that sounds like a technical error. Oh, well, and not take on too much of it. However, it really was abusive and scary to tell a child, even though I was resilient, even though, I was destined to be a great, spiritual teacher someday, perhaps, I was absolutely terrified. And I did not know a kind and loving Jesus understanding personally, nor in, any understanding of it in this church experience that I was having, because I was hearing about it, but I wasn't living any of that. I was living on the premise that I'm already bad. I'm already behind the power curve, getting up in the morning. I'm already wrong. How am I going to make that right? And then go throughout the day. And if I already started out bad and wrong, and then I, impulsively, as an 8-year-old child, did something that an 8-year-old child would do that would annoy a teacher or whatever, then I'm even worse. It sets up too many problems, and too much, for me personally, it set up way too many problems to feel bad about myself, to feel guilty, to you feel that shame that children take on. We are shaming society. That's how we get our children to do what we want, people in general, to do what we want them to do. We emotionally manipulate them through shame and rejection, shunning, blah. And the ultimate shunning is you're not going to make it into heaven. You're going to go to hell where you'll live in the fiery pits forever and ever and ever. And that's where some of that stuff, fortunately, like I said, I have autism, and maybe that's what allowed me to think those very cerebral Gemini thoughts of, and really trying to reason it, that it just didn't seem logical to me. And so I kind of considered after a while that, yeah, this sounds like your technical error and that you don't really know what you're talking about. And because I did understand that Mother Nature is the coolest thing ever. And whatever runs Mother Nature and gives her orders, I don't think you have the right cue on that. I think you might have the wrong understanding of that, because that's beautiful. And hurricanes come and things like that. However, hurricanes aren't personal. Hurricane isn't coming to that sinner's house and saying, well, we're taking out that one, because God's wrath knows God's watching everything, along with Santa. We're watching everything you do, that good or bad. And then making that assessment that the hurricane, tidal wave, whatever it is going to come and take down just one sinner's house, or is going to take down a whole section of, I don't know, certain ethnicity of people. And it's because they're bad. That's our evidence. No. I don't agree with that. That's religious abuse, to be teaching young minds, malleable minds, that we shut somebody out or we push people out of the kingdom of heaven. Whether you believe in heaven or not, we are all human beings. We all have the commonality of breath in our bodies, life force, life energy. And that is the one commonality between us that we all share, regardless of what color eyes we have, what our abilities are, whether we're an empath, a light worker, a Baptist, a Buddhist, a martial arts practitioner. It does not matter. It doesn't matter, because every single human being, we have that same life force. It's the exact same. It's the operating system for Earth, is that you have to be structurally mushed together, biologically and physiologically put together in such a way that you're going to human and look like a generic, pretty give or take human. That's it. Right? Where does that come from? Well, that gets into some interesting esoteric discussion about the origins of how it could be that God happened and then happened on the earth. We're not taking into account bigger understandings of where does God live? If we want to think of it in terms of a singularity, where is that singularity? Where does singularity live? Where does God's singularity live? Everywhere. It's a concept. It's a concept. That frequency, that level of expectation of life being good, loving, warm, compassionate, kind, fun, friendly, forgiving, sharing, caring, all those fun words, right? Life at that level happening is possible. It's not going to happen, though, if we believe that we don't deserve it, or that we're sinning worms who just can't figure it out, and that it's her fault, or it's his fault, or that you've got to do, something in particular to find your way back to good graces. And yet there's one of the strange dichotomies, is that the prodigal son goes away and acts like a horse's patoot, and the dad welcomes him back and says, oh, thank goodness you've returned. You've returned. We humans, we like to pick and choose what we want to. We like to take what we want and leave the rest. And I'm going to encourage you, please, to take the truth and leave the rest. Take the truth. Not take what you want to out of the truth and leave the rest. Take all of the truth, none of the gossip and garbage, leave the rest. Because the truth stands solid whether you're reading the Bible, the Quran, Confucius, Yeats, doesn't matter. Runes, it doesn't matter what you're reading. Whatever your intel is of spiritual input, nourishing food from the universe, vibration from the universe, whatever your understanding of that is, and however you arrive there, that is your sovereign right as an earth citizen, a human being and an earth citizen here. We have parents who kind of, dump religious stuff into us. Maybe some of us do and some of us don't. And we're left to our own devices. Neither one of those is really great, in my opinion. And I don't necessarily want to, be the proponent that we need to raise our children in a particular religion, nor am I going to say we should not raise them in a particular religion. What I want to say is, please be teaching young, malleable minds, whether they are 2 or 80, that think outside the box. Think outside the box. This is a way of being. God presence, love, unconditional love is a state of being, not a place, unless it's where you're standing and you feel that. There is no place that you can find. Dimensionally, if you understand dimension, then yes, you can get there. You just close your eyes and go to all of them if you wanna. If you have that kind of understanding, though, you're probably not tripped up by a sacred text that's got some conflicting information in it and conflicting directive and a whole lot of interesting interpretation on the outside that turns into a religious abuse whenever a child is told what a sinning worm they are. I remember hearing one Sunday that the youth pastor, who also was ironically enough an English teacher at my high school, and thank goodness I didn't have him. He was scary enough when I was 5. By the time I got to be 15, yikes, I'd forgotten about him. That was a little weird. But I remember sitting there, and by that time we were done doing the Sunday school church thing with the grandparents, so that was well over by then. But I remember hearing the pastor say that when you are saying something mean to your brother or your sister, because we were all kids, this is a youth group, right? And Sunday school, and we're sitting there, and I'm thinking my sister's sitting next to me, and we'd had a big old fight that morning. We'd had a big old fight, and I told her that I hated her. I don't know. I think I told her I hated her. I mean, I used the H word. I went heavy that day, wouldn't you know? And God was listening. And then when I got to church, I got my just desserts. Well, I got my karmic return. I got the return on my investment. I spit out an equation of bleh, and then later I got my bleh back. That's how that works. It was an equal exchange of hate for hate. Hateful information, energy, angst. Yeah, because he was telling me, it seemed like he was looking me right in my eyeball too. What? That when you say something mean to your brother, your sister, your mom, or your dad, you are stabbing their heart. You're hurting their heart. You're killing them. And I mean, I was pretty angry at my sister, and I was pretty okay with just, not having a sister anymore, because we'd had a fight. However, I wasn't very okay with thinking that I was killing her, and I kept trying to kind of look at her and make sure that she wasn't dying in the pew next to me. I mean, that's pretty intense. I was 5 or 6, and bright enough to understand a whole lot, but not old enough to understand that you're talking about some pretty out there concepts, and I'm kind of an out there kind of kid, except that you're frightening me while you're doing this, and you're not making sense on top of it. And because you've convoluted my whole world and told me how to feel about it, all of this stuff that's woo-woo, weird, and magical, you've polluted it all, confused me, and now I don't know what to believe. And I haven't experienced, that great feeling of Jesus as my shepherd, or great presence, or great spirit, whatever you call that. I'm not hung up on just one religion or Christianity or Jesus, so please don't get me wrong on that one. That I haven't felt that. So why was this man not teaching us how to feel that presence, that holy presence, so that return back to that, return back to that, instead of telling we're probably 25 or 30 of us in that room. And my sister would have been about 8 or 9 if I was, 7 or 8. So we were not that old to be getting that information of what terrible people we were. And I don't know what she was thinking. I have no idea. I was too busy, terrified that I was going to have to go home and explain to my mom why my sister was dead, that I killed her, that sometime that afternoon she was definitely going down because Pastor so-and-so said that, you said something mean to somebody that you love, you're killing them. Yeah, I mean, I thought I'm going to the big house and they're going to trot me out, to a police car and haul me away. She's going to die, I hope it doesn't happen in the church because I'm likely to self-combust. I mean, it was terrible. So anyhow, I'm going to close it here and just say that anywhere where we're using fear as a manipulative tool, That's abuse. It's absolutely abuse, and it's not okay. And I think Jesus would have absolutely not been okay with it, nor would Mary or Buddha, Confucius. I mean, there's a Plato. I mean, we've got some pretty heavy hitters. Take care of yourself. Next time. Bye.